your children, Fiona and Faye, musical as well. Fiona, got into violin, fiddle, and
Yes.
Faye, of course, piping in a big way.
Yes.
Did you push them in that direction? Like, how did that happen?
No, they were never pushed into that kind of thing. I mean, obviously, we hoped that they would be able to appreciate music and enjoy music, but there was never any plan as to what they would do or what we would introduce them to, things like that. Again, like me, they started dancing on a Saturday, and I thought, well, the dancing, I always think, gives you a great sense of rhythm. You're listening to music, you're trained to be on the beat, that kind of thing. I thought, well, if they take anything up, it's a good start for them to have an appreciation of rhythm and learn about music. So, and I think with Murray and I having such an intense piping life, we always thought of the kids as having a more relaxed attitude towards it. So it was never a case of, oh, I wonder if they'll be pipers, or I wonder, if they'll do this or that. It all happened very naturally, which we're really pleased about, because I think that's why they're quite relaxed about their instruments. And Fiona started off on the chanter, being the eldest, and of course anything big sister was doing, the little sister wanted to try and match. So that was how that started. And then one day Fiona came home from school and said, I'm going to take violin lessons. Just somebody had come in and showed them, and she said, then she just fell in love with the violin. And that was great, because it meant that we had a completely different exposure to fiddle competitions, and we really enjoyed that. And we were so pleased that she'd found something like that to do, and it was different for us too. So then Faye, when Faye was 4, she had her chanter and she would play about with it. But it was all very relaxed. And then she would obviously try and copy Fiona. And then we'd maybe sit her down and say, well, look, all right, then let's show us what you can do, And it was all very light-hearted, really. Not really thinking it would get serious, to be honest. And we'd have a bit of fun with it. But as the time progressed, and we saw what she could do, we did kind of look at each other and go, we've maybe got something different here.
Mm-hmm.
We might work with this. But it was all very natural, and as there was no pipe bands that close to us, that we never thought about putting her in a pipe band. We just thought, well, we'll see where this goes and try her in a competition and see how that goes. And she took to it, really well. But again, she viewed it. It was a hobby. She didn't view it as a serious thing. It was never heavy. It was just a case of, well, see how it goes. We never put any pressure on her.
Yeah.
Because we know what it's like at the other end of it. And to a certain extent, you think, well, it has to be their choice, because if it isn't, there'll be problems later on. It'll all come back to haunt us. So yeah, it has to be their motivation.
And even it was lighthearted, but obviously you were teaching. Did you ever think that it's sort of like teaching your kids to drive or something? You want someone else to do that?
Well, that's been the most fortunate thing, in that I think obviously different kids have got different temperaments, and Faye she's a very laid back kind of character. And it was always very easy to instruct her, to tell her what to do. She didn't get huffy, she didn't get, it was all, yeah, okay. There was never any showdowns, there was, she's just not that kind of person. Had she been a different character, then it could have been a case of, well, maybe you need to go out with the family to get tuition, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was always such a joy to teach her. And still is. It's she takes on board so much and doesn't complain, because she knows she has faith. If you have faith in your tutor, then you don't question things. You just take it on board. I mean, obviously, as she gets older, she's got her own opinions, and we can talk about things. And now, I mean, she'll say, "Well, I think I prefer that to this," or what have you, and she's entitled to that, of course. But when they're young and they're little, if they have faith in you, they'll do anything for you.
Right. So how much do you think, Faye in particular was inspired by you? Not Murray, and by you and what you did. As a strong woman in the 1970s and in 80s and in 90s, etc.
Well, I mean, I think when she was young, she probably wasn't aware of all that. I mean, it's just, well, mum plays and dad plays. I don't think she really thought of it as because of my history. It was different or inspiring. She was just absorbing what we were giving her as she got older, and of course, Murray was still competing at that time. The girls would go to competitions and see Murray competing. And of course, they gradually started to see, oh right, okay, this is some big competitions here, and they loved to go to the competition. Blair, they would go to Blair and listen to him play there. But then as they started asking me questions about what did you do when you competed, because I'd stopped competing by that time, so they hadn't really seen me compete. So when they started to ask questions, it maybe fell into place then what the history was for me. But I think it was just the sheer enjoyment of learning that inspired them just to want to play better, but not particularly what had happened to me until they could understand. But when they were little, it was just a case of, well, this is what we're doing and it's good fun.
So in 2011, is that when?
2010.
2010? Right. Almost 30 years, 40 years. What's my math? Yeah, 40 years to the day almost. From when females first got to play, and Faye became the first woman piper to win one of the medals. Talk about your feelings at that point.
Well, it was great. She was first reserve for the gold medal that year, and got a place in. So that was exciting. I thought, well, that's good. It was own choice, so it wasn't set list at that time. So she was able, at I don't know how much notice she got before when she was told to learn what it's like to play in that kind of competition. No more than that. It was just, this will be a great experience for you, so that you can, next year you'll be so much more aware of what it's like to do this kind of thing. That's how we saw it, and she was very excited about it, of course, and thought that, well, this is good, but just really took it in her stride and didn't overthink the situation. And I think that was part. She was playing very well, of course, at the time, but she was able to go on and play to her capacity because she didn't let the situation get to her. She wasn't overawed. She was just happy to be there, and she was going to use it as a stepping stone for gaining some insight into what it was like and maturing for next year.
Yeah, sure.
So it was all very smooth. She was on quite late in the evening, 7 o'clock I think it was, because she was on nearly last, and she slept in till about 11 o'clock. Reserved all the energy, so by the time that came round, she was still fresh and good to go. So it was all very relaxed day, really. I mean, she was excited about it, of course, but she took it in her stride, and I think that was made her able to perform as she would have wanted on the day.
Did you ever think that why has it taken so long for a woman piper to get one of the biggest prizes? did you think it was overdue? Or just the fact that, or did you accept that people just hadn't played well enough to win it? Did you ever think like people were hard done?
It's very well. It's difficult. It's difficult to know unless you hear the whole competition.
Yeah.
You know, which you didn't when you were competing in it. You probably heard very little of the rest of the competition because you were busy trying to get yourself sorted out, and you know, and you maybe kept away a bit until it was your turn. So you didn't hear the whole competition. But I mean, there were a lot of good female players that came closer than I did too, and there must have been some really good performances, but you just don't know because the benches you would never know. You never know what goes down for any competition as to what the benches thought, or felt. So it's hard to tell, but there were some players that would have been capable of doing it, definitely.
So what about family support? I mean, you know, how much influence does family and supporting what you're doing as a competitor, how much does that go into a piper's career?
I think it's everything. As I say, solo piping can be quite a solitary thing. When you're in that final tuning room and it's you next and you go on and it's just you and it's all down to you, I think you need the support to give you the confidence to do it. You know, to help you in the good times, to help you in the not so good times. You know, boost you up. So I think it's you know, quite crucial really to have the right kind of backing and help, and if it's from your family, even better. Yeah.
And how do you think solo piping, competitive solo piping, prepares someone for the real world? Is there any?
I think
help your career.
Definitely. I think certainly I can see it with both the girls, with Fiona and Faye, because Fiona, of course, she competed at the Glenfiddich Fiddle Championships. It gives them a confidence that, you know, if you confront up to that kind of thing, there's not a lot that really gets to you after that. You know, you know you can cope with those kind of situations, and I know it's helped with interviews for jobs, with presentations at work for both the girls. They don't really see that as a problem. Right. And they've seen other people kind of crash and burn a bit because they got really nervous and you know, couldn't quite get over what they would have wanted because of nerves, whereas they, knowing what it's like to feel nervous but control it, they were used to that situation, and I think it has had a knock-on effect for them, which has been great. It gave them a confidence to do other things.
Right. And so what advice would you give to families who are supporting pipers, or drummers for that matter? You know, I'm sure they've learned a lot from what you've said already, but is there anything in particular that you would give them as advice?
I think the only thing you could say would be, you know, love them when it's going well and love them when it isn't going so well. Just treat the two things the same.
Right.
And give them a big hug.
Great. So, what else? Anything more you want to talk about? What haven't we covered?
The one thing, the only thing I was going to say was, you know, when Faye won the medal, you were saying, you know, how much would my history have influenced her? When she won it, of course, it was great. We were all, you know, quite emotional, very happy and everything. And later on, she, you know, she must have been thinking about it, and she said to me, "Mum, I did it for you." So I thought, oh, that's great. It just seemed to be a nice circle that had come round. And
what a great moment.
Well, that was, yeah. And I thought, this is better than ever winning it for me. This is the best thing.
That's terrific. Patricia, thanks very much. It's great talking to you.